Hello everybody, welcome to the second American Speed Festival here in 2022 at the M1 Concourse Raceway. Normally, we're here for Cars and Coffee. There'll be a video up on that shortly after this one. But, in the meantime, we're going a little bit more highbrow, because the American Speed Festival this year is celebrating another category of historic racers, the 60th anniversary of Shelby and the 75th anniversary of Ferrari. But we're starting out a little more simplistic, okay? The normal road cars. I say normal because it's McLarens, Ferraris, and Ford GTs, etc. There was a mini milk. Don't know why that was there. It was there, though. This session here, specifically, does include vehicles from multiple different shows, because there was a Sunday car show as well as a Friday and Saturday track session. So we had vehicles like the BMW 1600, like the Mercedes 190, like the Aston Martin Vantage, or the M2 CS, that didn't actually run and were just static on the side of the track. But, you know, seeing these cars is always a welcome sight. This is the most like Cars and Coffee that we will have for the remainder of the video. Yeah, 911 Target is the most normal vehicle that you'll probably see. And there were a lot of 930s, including this tastefully modified one with roof wheels, which is always a nice touch. A 935 homage with the slant nose and the big wing and the roll cage and everything looks great with the BBS wheels. Or you could go more old school with the just plain and simple 930 Turbo, one of the true icons of the 70s. There were a lot of Porsches. There were a lot of Porsches. The 964, I think is what this was? I don't remember exactly. Then there were some more modern ones. If the 20th century is not your cup of tea, I quite like the Safari conversion kit for the 997. I really thought that was an interesting take on it. Then we had some American vehicles, including an old Duesenberg. I think it was a Model A Roadster, if I recall, from 1923. You can see on the license plate. The Corvette Stingray Concept, which later became the C2 Corvette, looks absolutely stunning machine. I love the look of it, especially in silver. It's such a great looking car. And there were some proper muscle cars, not just the eccentric old cars. We got the Ford Torino convertible GT and the Chevelle SS 427. Mercury Cougar convertible XR7 something is a nice touch. The Dodge Charger 500 RT is also a nice one. Love the styling. I love the aggressiveness of the 69 Firebird. I think the vents are a nice touch. An underrated muscle car for sure, the Ford Mustang SVO. Underrated, but still a great one. In a similar vein as these, in fact, these are the Shelby Dodges. So we had the Dodge Daytona over there, and the Shelby Goes Like Hell Some More Omni. Yeah, that's the actual name, Goes Like Hell Some More. Thank you, Mr. Shelby, for being the ever-comedic genius. He also worked on those you saw there in line with the supercars. He had a Lingenfelter C8 Corvette as a homage to the Cunningham Corvettes from the 60s at Le Mans. But this is actually one of my favorite road cars. This is a track day performance Copo Camaro, one of only two road-legal Copos ever built. It was a prototype that never reached a production stage. It was a bit of a part-spinning car, but still a really nice touch, learning something new. And I like seeing cars that are often overlooked and lost to history. And the Europeans still continued, the Italians here in full force, as obviously being a 75th anniversary of Ferrari. There were a lot of Ferraris, both the Enzo and the LaFerrari and the SF90 Stradale all making appearances, along with the various things like the F8 Tributo and the 488 Pista that you see there. The SP1 Monza was a nice unexpected touch. That's also a very good-looking car, but it's not quite as valuable as some other vehicles, because this is a similar vein with the 246 and the Ferrari 365, both very valuable vehicles, but even the 330 GT cannot hold a candle to the most valuable Ferrari in the show, because there was a 1963 Ferrari 250 GT California. And it was not reversed out a window this time, so it was an insanely valuable car. I've never seen an original GT California. But there we go. So now, I will leave you so you can just enjoy the sights and the sounds of proper supercars around a proper track. Keeping the stock car guys, if I can use the term loosely here, we're talking about NASCAR this time around. So we got a lot more in attendance than last year. Last year we had the Hudson Hornet and a few 90s cars. This time we have a straight 6-powered Fairlane or the more traditional V8 powered cars like the Monte Carlo, like the Mellow Yellow Days of Thunder Pontiac Tempest, or Grand Prix, not Tempest, whatever. And there was actually the last Dale Earnhardt Jr. stock car. This is the last one they raced in 2017, so a bit of history in this one, more so than any of the other vehicles on display. Not quite as significant as other NASCARs, like the Hudson Hornet from last time, but still a nice touch. Now this next one starts out a bit of like a miscellaneous class, but I promise we will get focused onto the main point. We're going to start out with some dragsters. There were a few NHRA cars here, like the Falcon from the first bit, and the Dodge Dart Super Stock. There were also some more general historic cars, like the Lingenfelter Corvette Grand Sport. There was a Time Attack Evo that actually showed up last year. Sadly, this did not run, but still, nice seeing the Time Attack Evo back. There was also a Lancia Stratos Group 4. I didn't expect to see that. It's probably my favorite car in show, but I'm a little biased in that because I love Lancia. So apart from that, we'll eventually get to my favorite car in show. This is an unexpected car, an actual 1994 DTM Mercedes with the famous D2 livery. I didn't know there were any DTM cars in the US. I love seeing new racing series. Again, sadly they did not run it, but just seeing a DTM car is an amazing sight. I love the silhouette cars. You saw that it's literally just a space frame chassis with a fiberglass body on the top of it. There was also a Mercedes AMG GT3, the SLS, which, again, another vehicle not raced here in the US that I never thought that I would see, with the proper gullwing doors on a GT3 car and all. Awesome showing from Mercedes, the team that brought this. Absolute heroes. We also had a McLaren 650S GT3 car that competed in the Blancpain GT series. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't think. Whatever. Always nice seeing new GT cars, but we're going to get on to the vehicles that actually raced. Sadly, those did not partake, but it's nice seeing them. These, though, did. The M3s looked a little bit out of place, I'm going to be honest. In this field of GT1 Fords and 69 bosses and whatnot, random M3s are out of place, but they are very fast. Do not underestimate. We'll get to them in a second. We also had a surprisingly large quantity of GT4 cars with the Shelby GT350 and the Porsche 718, so they got into a pretty big tussle in their racing sessions, despite not being an official race. And these also got into a pretty big tussle. We had 4 Ferrari challenge cars, 1 458, 2 488s, and 1 488 Evo that you're seeing here. There's so many that I actually thought they would just have a one-make racing series, and that's basically what they did. But we move on from GT cars to proper prototypes. Now again, with every series, there's going to be some that did not run, like this Fab Car GTP, although I'm hoping that runs next year. I think they're celebrating endurance racing next year. But still, nice to see an old IMSA GTP car here. And it was far from the only old school prototype that was in attendance, because there was the most successful, I think the most successful, endurance racer of all time, the Porsche 962. This is the Kentwood one, sponsored by Kremer and Kentwood. Absolute legend of IMSA and Le Mans. One of the all-time great Le Mans cars, and so dominant it was winning up until 1994. Hell of an impressive run. And there was another 911 here. This one, the GT1 homage. I found out about this. It's got a 911 GT1 body with a 993 chassis and another different 911 engine. So it's a bit of an amalgamation. This, though, is not an amalgamation. It's an original 1966 Porsche 906 that competed at Le Mans. I think it has a different paint job than that one, though. But still, really tiny car compared to the very small Ford GT behind it. It's a little baby thing. And yeah, despite being from 1966 and despite being the size of a pebble, it put up a pretty good fight. It went toe-to-toe against some modern sports cars when it was on its track session. So, well done there. The Lola sadly did not run as much as I would have liked, given the incredible noise from last year. This was a very noisy session. These are great vehicles. But at least this Lola got more screen time because it didn't crash this time. So, again, progress. Even if it meant we didn't quite get the Lola T70 out. The Praga, though, the Praga got a lot more time out on the track. It really got to stretch its legs. It didn't run at all last year, but this year it was absolutely flying. This was not flying quite as much. This is sort of struggling with mechanical problems all weekend, but it did get on the track once in a while. Usually, when I saw it in the pits, it looked like this. Looks like a very big go-kart. And in fact, that one picture intact was the only picture I saw of it all weekend. It was very hard to find this car fully intact. I found it once in the pits without any of its body panels missing, but I am dedicated to getting photographs, damn it. Another new car I've never seen is a Daytona prototype, this being the Crawford Ford-powered Daytona prototype from the early 2000s. I think 2006 is when this raced. You know me, I always like seeing new cars. And now it's time for the open wheelers. Almost all Indy cars, but a few of them are different. This is a hill climb car, the Nash Roadster from 1927. This is a replica of the Chevy Serv 1, Chevy Experimental Research Vehicle, which is a nice touch, I'll admit. It confused me at first seeing the Serv 1, but I figured it out eventually. This is an honest-to-God Formula 1 car, a Shadow DN5, with the famous Cosworth DFV, that I had and video. They only ran it once. I had a video of it in all of its glorious noise, and then I deleted it like an idiot. So, my bad. My bad. I hope it comes back next year. Not my finest moment, but whatever. We're gonna breeze by that inconsistency and just move on to the Indy cars, okay? Because there were a lot. The Vintage Indy Society, whatever they call themselves, showed up. And they brought a whole host of vehicles, ranging from this 1933 Miller B block, which looks terrifying, not just because the handbrake's on the side and that it's a death machine, but I mean, look at the drive shaft is right next to your foot. That sounds extremely sketchy. This has a really interesting story, actually. The Ferrari 375 Indy car, designed to be a Formula 1 car, then the rules changed for 52, so they repurposed it as their only proper attempt at the Indy 500. And yeah, it didn't do very well, but the fact that we have one of the only Ferrari Indy cars to ever show up is a nice touch. And then Watson is a very famous Indy car builder, and they had quite a few of their roadsters in attendance. This one caught my eye. It's not quite a Watson. I think there's a Jim McGee, as you can see there on the side, but the engine is actually shifted off keel to be more in line with the bank. And that's some Smokey Yunick type stuff. That's thinking outside the box, and it looks really cool too. This is another one of those trying to, skirt the rules, so it's got the aerodynamic fin on the back, because this is the time when they were trying to pioneer things just to make the cars faster as innovation and technology got better and better. Again, technology and innovation, the Lotus 56 turbine car ran even more than last year. It's always good to see the turbine car in its full racing glory. I love the livery on this Ford Mongoose. I think it looks fantastic with the swooped back wings following the American flag stripes up is a really nice touch. Dan Gurney had a lot of cars here, at least his AAR team. This is probably the most significant. It's not quite a Gurney vehicle, but it is a very significant one. Probably the most significant Indy car here because it was A.J. Foyt's 4th Indy 500 winner from 1977. This actually won the Indy 500 with A.J. Foyt, a record, or a tied record, 4th time. So a very impressive piece of history. Again, sadly never ran, probably because it's, A.J. Foyt's 4th champion Indy car. But, still nice to see it. And this is the most recent Indy car they had. Technically it's a champ car, but it's a full-on V10 from Judd. Yeah, that is a hell of a noise. we continue the open-wheeler theme with the track specials. No, not the Shelby. No, get that out of the way. The BAC Mono. Again, a vehicle that never ran for some reason. They only parked it in the parking lot. But I just love the fact that this car is so small that you can actually hide it behind a Mustang. And it's completely obscured from view. I didn't even see it until I walked past the Mustang, and I wanted to share that experience with you. The Mono is an absolute beast of a track car. I don't even think it's road legal in America. I think it's only road legal in Britain. So it's very nice seeing it here at the show, even if it sadly did not run. But there's always next year. As the event grows and grows, hopefully the cars that we see in the parking lot will eventually get out on the track. But either way, it's a nice touch. Their sort of British rivals, I guess, Radical, had an immense showing this time around. Lots of Radical SR3s. You already saw the introductory piece there. The red one, right here, is the only one that actually ran on the track. But again, it's just nice seeing British track cars. And I saw the Lotus 311 a few years ago at Concourse, so seeing the Lotus 211 is a nice progression. Again, with the track cars going out on track, always a nice touch. We move on to an Italian track car, the Dollar EXP. We saw this at a Cars and Coffee a little while ago. And I'm going to bring the Radical back, the Praga back, because I wanted to compare it to this and the Stodeker from last year. This is a Wolf Extreme, missing a front suspension component, and it damn near set the track record. It wasn't even proper, and it damn near beat the track record. That is a hell of a vehicle. But eventually, they did have to bring the old Stodeker out of retirement to get some real fast laps. Let's finish this off with the real star of today's show, and that is Shelby American. They had a hell of a collection. The entire Shelby club was invited. There were all of the historic race cars, and let's get this right out of the way. A lot of them were continuation cars, or Super Performance or Factory 5. All of the ones here are continuation, so we have the number 14, the number 12 are continuation models of the Shelby Daytona Coupe. And the one at the very far end of the left that you saw is a Super Performance Daytona Coupe right here. Disappointing that they're not the originals, but as the guy told me in a slightly more polite way, this is a random racetrack in Michigan. You think we're going to give you one of 6 $10 million Daytona Coupes? No, they're not quite that stupid. But still, it's awesome seeing all of them lined up, even if it's not 100% real. This was also a nice touch. This is an actual movie car from the Ford v Ferrari movie that Ken Miles drove in the, I want to say it was Desert Race, whatever they called it. But for every fake car, there was a real car. This is an actual 1 of 21, 1 of 27 Shelby 427 semi-competition Cobras. Incredible cars, incredibly valuable cars, and that was just the beginning, because there were some road cars and then there were the race cars. Again, a lot of them were fake, but these that you see from this point on are all real. The GT350 was driven by Ken Miles. This one was also a SCCA champion, so it's got the Holman Moody stickers on the side of it. I actually got to sit in it, which is awesome. Big thank you to the owner. I never thought I would see one, much less be able to sit in it. Being that close to a piece of history is an incredible experience, even if you don't get to drive it. Just sitting in a 65 GT350 Shelby is incredible. And there were also some 427 race cars. This was a 289 that competed at Le Mans in 1964, I believe. So this is the hardtop version that competed. And you can see back there, CSX 2203 is the chassis number. This is one of less than 10 289 Cobra Dragon Snakes built for the NHRA Dragon Racing Series. That is an insane car. There's like less than 8 of them in the world, and one of them was right here. I've seen a few Shelbys. I even saw the actual Daytona Coupe once at the Shelby Museum, but seeing them on the track, raced really hard. The GT350s were absolutely going at it in this one. I was really impressed and slightly scared on how fast they were driving those Shelbys. But it was such a great experience, a lovely day on the track. And at the end of the day, just seeing the cars static or in motion, it just puts a smile on your face. So there we go, another American Speed Festival in our rearview mirror. Some truly legendary cars. Even if they didn't go on the track, they were some of the rarest and most valuable cars I have ever seen, from Ferraris to DTM cars to actual Le Mans racing Shelby Cobras. It was an incredible experience. I got to sit in a GT350. I still can't get over that. I'm recording this a week later, and I still can't get over that I was fortunate enough to do that. So now I'm just waiting to see what happens next year. It's gonna be fun.